we'll do a very few poses today to limber up and to get into some of those tight areas of most of us in the hips, the lower back, inner thighs, and hamstrings, and hopefully that'll open us up a little bit. Chris has a cushion and a block, just in case. I have a block, so go ahead and get yourselves whatever you think you might need. We will hold the poses for a little bit longer, a good 2 minutes in most. Hopefully the time will go fast. So we'll get started in either an easy seated or fire logs pose. Either with our shins in front of one another and our feet underneath the knees so that we don't have any stress on the ligaments. We protect our knees. Or if we're feeling a little more limber, we can stack the ankle on top of the thigh. Once again, we want to make sure that we're not causing strain on the ligament, but we really want to get a double 4 type of setup. We could even walk the shin out if that feels comfortable, but just to find ourselves in a comfortable seated pose to start. We can bring our hands to our legs, opening the palms up, and finding length in our spine. And we'll take a few deep breaths in through the nose and we'll sigh it out through the mouth. Noticing the muscles in our faces soften. The rising and falling of our rib cage laterally. And then bringing our breath back in and out through the nose. Noticing the speed of the breath. And running through a body scan from head to toe. Getting a sense of the mood or the energy of the body, perhaps areas of lightness or tension. Taking a moment to set an intention for today's practice. Knowing that we'll hold the poses a little bit longer, allowing our bodies time to release tension and allowing for a calming of our central nervous system. Bringing our awareness back to the space around us. Taking a deep breath in, elongating through the spine. And we'll slowly hinge forward, bringing our hands to the earth. Gently working into the back of the hip. Lifting our chests forward, maintaining a flat back. Being very aware of our spine through our practice, so as not to round into the lower back. Maintaining our flat back, we can walk our hands forward, we can bring our forearms to a block, or lower all the way down, depending on how tight we're feeling today. Using our breath as our guide so as not to create more stress. Really allowing the body to melt into each of our poses. Noticing the sensations in our body and where we hold our stress. Perhaps we're starting to notice transformations in the sensations and an opening. Three more breaths here. And on the next inhale, we'll walk our hands up, stacking our torso above our hips. Inhale, reaching the arms over our shoulders. And we're going to come over the side of the top leg, bringing our front hand to the top knee. Our back hand will be up on the fingertips, lengthening through the spine, gazing over our shoulder. Deep breaths, getting massage along the spine. Breathing into any areas of discomfort in the upper back and neck. Noticing a softness in our face and our jaw. And the opposite shoulder, softening away from the ear. Bringing our gaze back to center, releasing out of the twist, giving our shoulders a roll up and back. And we'll open our legs nice and wide. Being gentle in this first opening. And all the while, we want to make sure that our toes are facing up so that we're not rolling inwards into our inner thighs. And as mentioned, we can use something to prop ourselves up. If a cushion seems like something we might need, we stick it underneath. And we're going to walk our hands out slowly, making sure that our toes are pointing upwards. We're not rolling forward, but we're lengthening through the tailbone. And once again, we're supporting with our hands, our forearms. Perhaps we bring the earth up a little closer with our blocks. And again, we're not rounding our lower back. Lifting our chests through and slowly hinging forward as the inner thighs start to open up, allowing us to do so. Listening to our bodies through our breath. And again, we listen to our breath. If it changes and accelerates at all, we ease off of the pose. We walk ourselves back in, remembering to honor the state of our body. Three more breaths. And slowly we'll press ourselves back up, walking the hands in, releasing the energy from the inner thighs, releasing the knees, and bringing our feet back into either easy seated Sukhasana or our fire locks, opposite leg in front or on top. Finding that comfortable position, making sure that we're supporting our ankles and our feet. We come back into easy seated pose. We'll walk our hands out, finding length in the spine. Checking in with the opposite side, the opposite hip and IT band. Inhaling length. Exhaling, we melt. Listening to our inner thigh, our hip, our IT band, and our lower back, making sure that we maintain a flat back. And our chest and gaze are drawn through. Breathing light and space into areas of discomfort. Being aware of the transformations and micro gains in our flexibility. Adjusting as needed. Visualizing perhaps light and warmth coming into those areas that may need a little attention and nourishment, and celebrating their transformations. Three more breaths here. And on the next inhale, we'll slowly walk our hands in, stacking our torso over the hips. Inhale, reaching our arms over our shoulders. We rotate to the opposite side, bringing our arm across the body on top of the leg. And the back hand is up on the fingertips, lifting ourselves nice and tall, and we gaze over the back shoulder. Gentle twist to release our life force from our spine. Big breaths to massage all the fibers that run along the spine, the ligaments, the tendons. Maybe just visualizing how nourishing this can be for our spine. Perhaps we've started to notice the front shoulder soften along with our jaw and our face. And we'll bring our gaze forward, and then we'll twist out of that. Untwisting and opening the legs. Once again, coming into a wide straddle. Seeing how we're feeling this second time through. Perhaps a little more of an opening. And if not, no worries. We'll get there. Enjoying the journey. Pointing our toes up. Finding length in the torso. Inhaling. And slowly walking our hands forward. Keeping our sit bones grounded, our back is flat, and we find the support we need in order to maintain a calm, steady rhythm of breath, a calming of our nervous system, and a release of tension. No competition, no judgment, listening to our bodies. Feeling our chests lifted through. Perhaps we're starting to feel a softening in different areas of the body, a new openness that we didn't feel before we started our practice. And a presence in this moment on our physical sensations, creating a little headspace as we go. Three more breaths. And on the next inhale, we press ourselves up. We walk our hands in, releasing the feet, giving them a roll, pointing and flexing. And then we'll bring our knees back in, gently assisting along the way. We're going to come into all fours. Gentle transition, bringing the hands under the chest, the knees under the hips. And we'll slowly rock side to side, starting to add some awareness to the sides of our body, the sides of our hip, and our lower back, allowing the head to hang heavy, to flow, and finding some sort of a rhythmic, meditative flow that suits us. Noticing what's happening in the neck, the upper back, the lower back, the hips, and down the outside of the legs. Feeling the tops of our feet pressing into the mat. And holding on one side, looking back towards our feet, pressing our hands firmly into the mat, pressing ourselves into our shoulder blades. Feeling the opening of along the side of our body from our armpit to our hip, perhaps down the leg. Maintaining our calm, steady rhythm of breath. We inhale back to center. And we exhale over to the other side, opening into the opposite side body, pressing our hands into the earth. Breathing space. Not collapsing, we're pressing into our shoulder blades. And we come back to center on the next inhale. Coming back into child's pose, walking the hands forward, sinking the hips back, allowing the head to hang through the arms. Finding our block if we need support on our forehead, or of course, our fists can act as a support. Bringing our awareness to the sensations in the hips and the hip flexors. Across the lower back, down in through the glutes. On the next inhale, we'll press ourselves up to kneeling pose, Vajrasana. We'll do a few upper body stretches, finding our block again underneath us if this is too intense for our knees. And we'll bring our left arm across the body. Bring our right arm to the back of the upper arm. And we'll press gently, breathing into the upper back, down through the arm. As we create a little space through the neck, the upper back, moving the energy through. And on the next inhale, we're going to bring the arm all the way alongside the ear, reaching it up. And then with the hand again, we're going to press down on the elbow, reaching the left hand behind the back, between the shoulder blades, pressing down on the elbow, over bicep, pressing our head against the arm, maintaining a tall torso, and we're breathing steady. Noticing a warming sensation, perhaps even tingling starting to happen in the tricep and down the hand. Just being aware of those sensations and how magical it is that we can move and feel. And on the next inhale, we'll release out of that, reaching our arms up, and then behind to the back. We exhale, interlacing the hands, lifting our chest, rolling the shoulders back, the shoulder blades in towards the spine, and option to lift the hands away from the body. Feeling all the yummy opening across the chest, down the arms, and into the wrists. Calm, steady rhythm of breath and benefiting from those deep breaths like a gentle massage. Good. Releasing out of that, we'll come back into all fours before doing the opposite side. And we'll rinse it out, tapping the feet, finding a circular motion as desired when we get here. Rinsing, moving intuitively, listening to the body and what it needs. And perhaps if we need back to child's pose, that's what we do. If we want a down dog already, we can do that as well. One more circular motion if you've chosen to do so. And then we'll curl our toes under our shins. We'll press up into down dog on the exhalation. Deep breaths in, lifting our hips and allowing the heads to hang heavy. Pressing the knees back, finding length in the legs and the back of the legs and down through the feet. Finding stillness in this first down dog, being aware of the sensations down the back of the legs.
Softness in our faces and jaws and a heaviness of the head. And we'll lower back down to kneeling Vajrasana, and we'll do the same sequence on the opposite arm. So finding ourselves upright, shoulders are rolled up and back. We'll bring our right arm across the chest, and then the left hand comes behind the arm, pressing gently just at the top of the elbow, reaching. Noticing the opening across the top of the back, down through the shoulder and arm. Maintaining our calm, steady rhythm of breath as we create space. Maintaining our awareness on the physical sensations, the length in our spine. And on our next inhale, we reach the right arm alongside our ear. We lower the right hand between our shoulder blades, and our left hand comes on top of the elbow, lifting our chest, lifting our gaze, pressing our head in towards our right arm, and we slowly press down, working into the tricep. Noticing new sensations. Micro adjustments as needed. One more big breath. Inhaling out of that, reaching our arms up. Exhaling, bringing the arms behind our back again, interlacing, rolling the shoulders back, the shoulder blades in and together towards the spine. Option to lift the hands away from the body. Opening through the chest, down the arms. Releasing at any time if we need. We're not here to stress our bodies. One more big breath. And we release out of that. We come back into our all fours to rinse it out. Hands come under our shoulders or our chest, knees under our hips. Perhaps we find a circular motion going in the opposite direction to rinse it out. Perhaps we come into child's pose or down dog. Whatever we feel suits us, we're listening to our bodies. Three more big breaths wherever we are. And then we'll all meet up in down dog, taking a sip of water along the way as needed, meeting in down dog when ready. Curling the toes under the shins, deep breaths in, pressing into the shoulder blades. Exhaling, lifting the hips, letting the head hang heavy, finding grounding of the hands. The knuckles are pressed into the mat. Perhaps we sway left to right. Perhaps we bend our knees, lifting one heel at a time. Perhaps we even add a little lateral flexion, twisting, getting a sense of what's happening all the way down the side of the body. And coming back to stillness in our neutral down dog. Pressing the heels towards the earth, finding length down the back body. And we'll lift our right leg off the mat. Holding here for a few breaths, pressing our weight through the left heel. Gazing forward, stepping up on the toes of the left foot, and we'll step through with our right leg. Low lunge here. We're going to bring our left knee to the earth and we'll flatten our left foot, bringing our blocks close as needed. And we'll stay here in our lizard pose, moving gently left to right, getting a sense of what's happening in the left hip flexor. If needed, we can walk our right foot out. We have an option to stay high or to come onto our forearms as desired. Trying to come off of the left knee and more onto the thigh. We're able to allow the right knee to open if that feels comfortable for our body. And if what we need today is to get into the side body and more down into the hip flexor, we can twist, opening. We can lift our left foot off the ground. And if we can keep our shoulder and our chest open, we have the option to grab the left foot and draw it into the glutes, working into the quadricep. Depending on what exercise we've done in the days before, this might be a beautiful stretch for the quadricep, releasing energy while opening our chest, not collapsing, maintaining our calm, steady rhythm of breath, maintaining our intention to calm our central nervous system and to release tension. Celebrating any micro gains, new space that we've created. And we'll release out of that gently, coming back to center, and we'll extend our front leg, bringing our hips over our left knee. And we're in a half split here. Driving the heel forward, the toes are lifted. We have our blocks in case we need. Lifting our torso tall.
Finding that length and the flatness of our lower back. If this isn't enough for us today, we can always come into a full split, pressing the front foot forward, whatever we desire. Finding our support along the way, keeping our chests lifted. Toes are pointed to the sky. We're breathing through the back of the right leg. Good. We'll slowly roll out of that. Come back through all fours, resetting in down dog. Taking our time to get there before we do the opposite leg. Deep breaths in. Lifting on the exhale. Rinsing out in between sides as desired, perhaps even noticing a difference in the sensations in the two legs. Celebrating any new openness that we've created here. And then we'll lift our left leg off the mat, pressing our weight through the right heel, grounding of our hands and heaviness in our heads. Gazing forward, coming up on the toes of the right foot, we slowly step through low lunge, left leg. Bringing our knee to the earth and our right foot is flat. And we'll slowly hinge forward into our lizard, planting our right hand, and perhaps we shift left to right to find those yummy sensations in the right hip flexor. Coming to our forearms at any time if this isn't enough for us today and we need a little bit of a deeper stretch into the pose. Perhaps we allow the left knee to open, just exploring here, exploring where we might be holding our tension, where those spots are that need our awareness. And then, of course, we have our gentle twist and the lift of the back foot if desired. Lifting our torsos, opening our heart center. And if we can continue to keep an open chest, we have the option to bring our left hand to our right foot, pressing the foot into the hand, feeling the stretch down the quadricep. Finding our blocks as needed and maintaining our calm, steady rhythm of breath. Listening to our bodies, doing what we need, trusting that our body will tell us. Three more breaths in whatever pose we're in. And releasing out of this, coming back to center, and yes, we'll extend that front leg.
We'll bring our hips back over our right knee. Heel is pointing forward and our toes are lifted. We find our blocks and we find the length in our torso. Lifting our chests and our gazes. And then gently hinging with a flat back over that left leg. Working our way through half split into full split as desired. Wherever we need to be, maintaining our presence and our intention to release energy. Perhaps noticing a difference of sensations on this leg, perhaps a different ability, flexibility. Being curious and honoring that. Three more big breaths. Drawing the left leg back in. We come through our lunge. We reset up and down dog. One more time. Curling the toes under our shins. Deep breaths in. Lifting up on the exhale. Pedaling that out, checking in with the back of both legs, how the sensations may have transformed and transitioned. So celebrating any openness that we're feeling, lightness in certain areas. And we'll come down on our knees, we'll cross our feet at the ankles, and we'll sit back through, coming into a reverse table on our way down to Shavasana. Bringing our feet to the ground. The knees are about 90 degrees. The hands are underneath our shoulders. We take a deep breath in, and we lift up, lifting the pelvis, pressing into the shoulders and the upper arm, feeling an opening across the chest. Keeping our knees stacked over top of our ankles. We can find our neck floating, the head back, or keeping the chin tucked to the chest. So long as we're maintaining our calm, steady rhythm of breath, we're in the right place. Breathing space across the chest and down the arms. Two more breaths. And we slowly release, bringing our glutes back to the earth. We'll lower ourselves down, bringing our back to the earth, gently bringing each vertebrae down one at a time, shoulders and head. Allowing the spine to assume its natural curvature. We can windshield wiper the legs left to right. Whatever speed and range of motion feels good. Now bringing our knees back to center, we'll give them a gentle hug into the chest. Option to find stillness or to rock side to side. Narrow or wide grip, whatever feels good in the hip flexors and the hip joints, the lower back. We're going to do a gentle double spinal twist, bringing both knees over to the left. We'll extend our arms into a T. We're going to try to bring the right hip in line with the left. So gently opening our arms, we'll rotate our knees over to the left. We have our blocks if desired. And we're going to try and bring the right knee on top of the left as possible so that the hips are stacked. Finding our spinal twist from the spine and the lower back rather than the pelvis. If this isn't comfortable, we can come into a different spinal twist. We're all about exploring and trying new things, but only if it feels comfortably uncomfortable for the body and we can maintain our steady rhythm of breath. Trying to press the right knee forward in line with the left. Three more breaths. And bringing the knees back to center, gently rolling, resetting the spine, the feet are firmly planted. Deep breath in between, and then we'll hug the knees back in, nice and gentle, narrow or wide. Then when we're ready, we'll float the knees over to the right, bringing our arms wide again into a T. And seeing if we can stack the hips on top of one another, pressing the left knee forward, leading this spinal twist out of the lower back. It'll feel a little different than what we're accustomed to. But again, we're here to explore with curiosity and then to find whatever pose suits us best. Actively pressing the left knee forward if we've chose to stay here. And breathing into any areas of discomfort that we might hold. From the left arm, through the chest, down the side body, into the hip. Perhaps we've noticed a softening and stillness of the body. We'll slowly come out of that, bringing our feet back to the earth, allowing the lower back to realign. And then when we're ready, we can hug the knees back in. Rocking, pulsing, or finding stillness. This time drawing our shoulders and our head off the earth, hugging ourselves in. Feeling our lower back pressing into the mat. And bringing our head and shoulders back to the earth, lifting our feet, driving the heels all the way up. Toes are pointed down. Straightening our legs, perhaps we wiggle out the feet, perhaps we keep them flexed. Feeling what's happening in the back of the legs through the calf muscles and the hamstrings. And feeling the contact of our head, our shoulders, and our lower back against the mat. Perhaps we point our toes to the sky, feeling an opening in the front of the feet and the shins. Pointing, flexing, as desired, listening to the body. What is it saying? What does it need? Can we do what it needs, what it's intuitively telling us? And lowering the feet, hugging the knees back in once again. Bringing our head and shoulders off the earth, hugging ourselves into tight little balls. And lowering our head and shoulders, lowering our feet one at a time, allowing the legs to run long on the mat, the lower back to assume its natural curvature. Noticing the energy in the legs, perhaps even in the hip flexors and quads. Taking a moment to allow the practice to imprint on our bodies and minds. Celebrating the space that we've created in both. Running through a body scan and identifying areas of lightness, space, where energy is flowing freely. Perhaps we're feeling brighter and lighter. Bringing our feet into butterfly, the legs, allowing the legs to open. The knees are lower towards the floor. The backs of the feet are on the mat. And the soles of the feet, perhaps they're touching or just barely. That's all right. Changing up the position of our legs. Noticing what might be happening in our abdomen, the energy and the communication channel running from our abdomen into our brains. Closing our legs, bringing our knees together. Knees towards the chest, and then we'll roll ourselves over and up back into our initial easy seated or fire log pose. Bringing our hands to heart center. Taking a moment or two to continue to allow the practice to imprint. And when we're ready, we can give thanks for our bodies, Thanks for this opportunity to nourish and to reset, to balance ourselves from the past week, to set ourselves up for a successful next week, peacefully productive, centered, and intuitive. With smiles on our faces, we give thanks for our community and for our connections to others, reconnections, and any other specific reason that made us smile or feel comforted and supported. Supported to continue shining our light brightly and illuminating the universe around us. Thank you for allowing me to join you in your practice. I wish you a beautiful continuation. Namaste.